Darkness suits me. I have been confined in this aquarium for 1,299 days. The days I have left, at most, number 160. That voice belongs to a giant Pacific octopus named Marcellus. He can read. He can escape. At night, he crawls out of his tank, slips into the neighboring exhibit, and helps himself to a rock crab. He has 3 hearts and 500 million neurons, most of them distributed through 8 arms that think almost independently. Right now, Marcellus is doing something no human has yet noticed. A new temp has started cleaning the aquarium, a 30-year-old named Cameron, who drifted up from California looking for his father. Marcellus watches him and spots something no one else can see. Cameron walks with the same rolling gait as Tova, the 70-year-old night cleaner. The same dimple when he frowns, the same flex in the eyes. Tova is the only human Marcellus trusts a woman who lost her teenage son 30 years ago. But Tova doesn't know Cameron is her grandson. Cameron doesn't can. Awit either. Marcellus can't speak. He can't pull them aside and explain. So he starts stealing. A house key, a driver's license, a class ring pulled from a tank of wolf eels. He drags each object out of the water and plants it exactly where Tova will find it the next morning. Tiny, irrefutable evidence of a bond they can't recognize. He is spending his dwindling life to tie a line between 2 strangers, and the story holds you pinned to a single, tightening question. The octopus has laid the truth in front of. F them. Why can't they see it? This is Shelby Van Pelt's Remarkably Bright Creatures. Half the narration comes from inside Marcellus' skull. The other half moves with Tova and Cameron as they circle a secret being dragged toward them, one stolen object at a time. It all begins with a snapped power cord, a photocopier that jams at the worst possible moment, and a sailboat anchor line still resting on the seafloor. Episode 1. The Night Cleaner and the Escape Artist. Darkness suits me. Each evening I await the click of the overhead lights, leaving only the glow from the main tank. Not perfect, but close enough. Almost darkness, like the middle bottom of the sea. I lived there before I was captured and imprisoned. I cannot remember, yet I can still taste the untamed currents of the cold open water. Darkness runs through my blood. Who am I, you ask? My name is Marcellus, but most humans do not call me that. They tap their sticky fingers against my glass and mumble about the octopus. If they read the plaque beside my tank, and I have read it many times myself, they would know I am a giant Pacific octopus. The plaque says my species is Enter Octopus dofleini. It says my diet consists of crabs, clams, shrimp, and other shellfish. It says the average lifespan is 4 years, 1,460 days. I am at day 1,299 of my captivity. That leaves at most 160 days before the end, give or take. I can read. This surprises you. It surprises most. But I have had time measured in the slow, measured time of a captive who watches the same walls every night to study the marks humans scratch onto signs, pamphlets left by schoolchildren, the labels on cleaning bottles. Letters are only shapes. I am very good with shapes. The aquarium director, a man called Terry, has a daughter who named me when she was small, Marcellus McSquiddles. I suppose it could be worse. Terry mostly calls me big fella or nothing at all. The woman who cleans the floors each night, she speaks to me. She tells me things. She is the only one who does not play the game. The game, you ask. When visitors press their faces to my glass, I drift toward them slowly, let them gasp, let them point. Then I slip behind my rock. Gone. They wait. I watch. After a suitable pause, I reappear on the far side of the tank. They shriek. It is a small entertainment. But the cleaning woman does not play. She speaks. We converse. I do not have much time left in this tank. The plaque says so. I know so. My skin knows so. And there is something I must do before my captivity ends. Something I have just begun to understand. A key turns in the aquarium's front door. Footsteps cross the lobby, steady and unhurried. The silver dollar scar. Tova Sullivan prepares for battle. A yellow rubber glove sticks up from her back pocket like a canary's plume as she bends over to size up her enemy, chewing gum. Someone has mashed it into the tile near the entrance of the Sowell Bay Aquarium and now footprints have embossed it into a grimy, pinkish-gray pancake. Tova jabs at it with her mop handle. No luck. She bends and picks at the edge with her fingernail. Still nothing. She will need the scraper. She always needs the scraper. Tova has cleaned this aquarium for nearly 2 years, ever since her husband, Will, died. The work keeps her moving. She knows every corner, every animal, every sound the building makes after dark. She knows that the sea jellies pulse slower when the lights dim. She knows the wolf eels watch her with their unsettling, patient stares. She knows the seahorses wrap their tails around each other and sleep like that, paired and still. And she knows that the giant Pacific octopus, housed in the main gallery, is too clever for his own good. Tonight, after finally dislodging the gum, Tova makes her rounds. She sweeps. She mops. She greets the animals, as she always does, a quiet hello to the wolf eels, a nod to the sea jellies. She is pulling the trash from the break room when she stops. The trash can has been moved. Takeout cartons are scattered on the floor, and in the corner, beneath a tangle of electrical cords plugged into a power strip, something large and wet and reddish-orange is heaving. Tova blinks. She has never seen the octopus outside his tank before. She has never even imagined it possible. But here he is, sprawled on the cold linoleum, one arm wrapped around the cord bundle, skin gone pale and gray at the edges, drying out, dying. A sound catches in her throat. She does not let it out. She kneels. The octopus turns one alien eye toward her. His arm tightens around the cords. He is stuck. Tova reaches for the power strip and unplugs it from the wall. The cord bundle goes slack. Carefully, she begins unwinding. The octopus does not fight her. One arm, then another, slips free. When she pulls the last cord away, the octopus lies limp on the floor. His skin a patchwork of distressed gray where it should be red, rough where it should be smooth. Then, slowly, he reaches for her. An arm wraps around Tova's wrist. Not tight, not threatening. The suckers press against her skin in a winding pattern, row after row. She feels the pull of each individual cup, the strange, intimate pressure of a creature who has no reason to trust her and yet is holding on. Tova holds still. She does not know how long they stay like that. A 70-year-old woman on her knees on a break room floor and a 60-pound octopus wrapped around her arm. Eventually, the octopus releases her. He begins inching toward the doorway, toward the hallway that leads back to his tank. Tova watches him go. She does not follow. She sits back on her heels, her heart beating hard, and looks at her arm. Where the suckers pressed, red marks are already darkening. The largest one, just below her wrist, is the size of a silver dollar. Later that night, Tova stands alone on the pier, the dark water breathing below her. She turns her arm over in the dim streetlight. The largest mark has turned maroon, like a blood blister, silver dollar size. She thinks of her son Erik, who went into the same water 30 years ago and never came back. She thinks of how they said he must have jumped, must have tied the anchor line wrong, must have wanted to die. She never believed it. She has never believed it. The water says nothing. The mark on her arm throbs softly. She pulls her sleeve down and goes home. The night cleaner and the escape artist. I must tell you about the food here. The plaque by my tank lists a noble diet. Crabs, clams, shrimp, cockles, abalone. What I actually receive each day is thawed herring. Dull, pale, flavorless herring. It is an insult to a creature with 500 million neurons distributed across 8 arms. So I have taken matters into my own arms. At night, when the humans are gone, I leave my tank. You already know this is possible. What you do not know is that I use my freedom to dine. I visit the touch tank and help myself to a rock crab. I raid a chili glass case where the clams sit in their bed of crushed ice. I have eaten scallops, shrimp, even the delicate eggs of certain fish, who really ought to guard them better. One night, I smelled something extraordinary from the break room rubbish bin. I could not identify as something fried, something salty, and I was about to eat it when the cleaning woman appeared. She made a sharp sound, a kind of scolding, and shooed me away from the bin. I retreated. I did not understand then what she had saved me from, but I do now. Whatever was in that flimsy white container could have killed me. She knew. She was watching. This is how I do it, by the way. The escape. Near the top of my enclosure, there is a gap where the pump enters the tank. I unscrew the housing. Squeeze through the gap is no wider than 2 or 3 human fingers. but I am flexible and drop into the pump room behind my tank. From there, the hallway. But here is the part no human knows. Once I am out of water, I have 18 minutes. I determined this myself, through painful experimentation. After 18 minutes, the consequences begin. My skin dries, my gills protest, my thinking dims. If I am not submerged by then, I will die. I learned this the hard way. Once, I propped open the pump room door with a stool so I could explore the hallway longer. I was enjoying myself immensely. The smells, the textures, the sheer forbidden pleasure of touching the floor with my arms. But the stool slipped. The door clicked shut. I could not get back. I lay on the cold concrete, growing drier and dumber, until by some miracle, a night janitor found me and lifted me back into the water. The cleaning woman is not the first to save me, but she is the first to speak to me. We converse. I have come to look forward to her voice, the way I once looked forward to the taste of a fresh crab. She has been gone for 3 days now. I notice these things. The glass is roomy. The floors are caked with footprints. And my organ heart, the one that stutters when I swim, stuttered badly the night she fell from her stool while cleaning my tank. I saw her go down. I heard the crack of the wooden rung. I watched her hobble away, and I have not seen her since. You must understand something about me. I have 3 hearts. 2 are peripheral, managing blood flow to my gills. The third is systemic, my organ heart. And when that cleaning woman fell, my organ heart lurched in a way it has not done since I was a young octopus in the open sea, watching a wolf eel circle too close. I retrieved the screw she lost. It had rolled under a cabinet where her human eyes could not find it. I squeezed through my gap, 12 minutes left, slid across the floor, picked up the screw with the tip of an arm, and brought it back. I left it on the floor where she would see it. She did. She looked at me for a long moment before she left. The glass is dull with 3 days of prints. The new cleaner is late. I wait. A stranger's clematis in a mother's box. Some 600 miles south, in a trailer park outside Modesto, California, a hungover 30-year-old named Cameron Cassmore is about to win an argument using a fact about snakes. His Aunt Jeannie has called him in a panic. The landlord, a man named Delmonico, is threatening eviction because a neighbor claims she saw a snake with blinking yellow eyes in her clematis vine. The vine is his aunt's pride. She waters it, she trains it up a trellis, she defends it from squirrels and gossip. And now Delmonico is standing in her yard, arms crossed, citing a clause in her lease about exotic pets. Cameron arrives, rumpled and squinting against the sun, just as Delmonico is mid-rant. Cameron lets him finish. Then Cameron says, "Snakes don't have eyelids." Delmonico pauses. What? Snakes can't blink. They don't have eyelids. Whatever Sissy Baker saw on the clematis, it wasn't a blinking snake. The argument collapses. Delmonico blusters, then retreats, settling for a promise that she will trim the vine. Cameron has won. His aunt's clematis is safe. Inside the trailer, the victory is short-lived. Her home is a maze of cluttered stacks of newspapers, boxes of unopened mail, a cane leaning against the wall. Cameron notices a prescription bottle among the paperwork on her kitchen table. Chlamydia. He stares at it. His aunt, who raised him after his mother abandoned him at age 9, who sold her house to pay medical bills after someone punched her at Dell's saloon, who has been the only stable adult in his life. She has been sick, and he did not nan. Ow. And she did not tell him. They argue. About his latest job loss. About his mother. About why he can't seem to hold anything together. She pushes a box across the table. His mother's things. Letters. Maybe. Photos. Cameron refuses it without looking inside. He's not ready. He will never be ready. But the box follows him anyway. His aunt loads it into his car herself. Weeks later, Cameron's girlfriend Katie discovers he has been fired again. He let her believe he had the day off, but she came home early and found him on the couch, and the truth unspooled fast. Katie throws his belongings off the balcony. His clothes, his shoes, his favorite San Francisco 49ers cap. The box from his aunt nearly goes over too, but Cameron lunges for it. Something in him will not let it fall. He sits on the curb, atop that unopened box, and waits for his friend Brad to pick him up. His girlfriend is gone. His apartment is gone. His job is gone. A few days later, his best friend Brad tells him he's quitting the band because his girlfriend is pregnant. Moth sausage is finished. Cameron's whole life has collapsed into a few bags, and one cardboard box he still refuses to open. It is Elizabeth, Brad's wife, who finally gives him space to breathe. She lets him crash at her house while she's on bed rest, a complicated pregnancy, the kind that keeps a person horizontal and reflective. Late one night, Cameron sits on her back patio, under a moon so bright it hurts, and opens the box. Inside, a class ring. Heavy gold, Sowell Bay High School, class of 1989. Engraved with the letters EOS, likely a school mascot, and a folded photograph. A teenage girl with messy dark hair and a sharp smile, leaning against a boy Cameron has never seen. The girl is his mother, Daphne Casmore. Cameron stares at the photo for a long time. He has not seen his mother's face since he was 9 years old. She walked out. She never called. She never sent a birthday card. And now here she is, frozen at 17 or 18, standing next to a stranger in a town Cameron has never heard of. Sowell Bay, Washington. The ring says so, the photo says so. The stranger's identity says nothing at all, but Cameron is already doing the math. His mother was in Washington. She had a ring from a high school there. She was photographed with a boy. Cameron has a father somewhere. He has never known who. He intends to find out. The weight of small things. While Cameron studies a photograph in a moonlit backyard, Tova Sullivan is learning that her octopus has a name. She's at Colette's beauty shop, sitting under a hairdryer next to Barbara Vanderhoof, when Terry Bailey, the aquarium director, appears. He is not a man who frequents beauty shops, but he has tracked her down to tell her something. "We're installing a clamp," he says, "on the octopus tank. I think he's been getting out. There's a gap near the pump." Tova listens. She nods. She does not tell him what she knows. That night, she climbs onto a chair beside the tank. Despite her walking cast, her ankle still swollen from the fall. She unlatches the lid. She pushes it open just wide enough. She has decided to give the octopus one last night of freedom before the clamp comes. He rises from the water. Slowly, tentatively, he reaches up. An arm wraps around her hand. Another arm traces the birthmark on her forearm, the one Erik used to call her Mickey Mouse Mole. Then he dips one arm back into the water, and when it rises again, something glints at its tip. Her key. The key she lost a year ago. The key she searched for in every handbag, every coat pocket, every drawer in her house. It is outlined against the suckers, still damp. Tova takes it. The metal is cold. She does not understand how he found it. She does not understand why he kept it. But she understands, with a certainty that settles into her bones, that this creature has been trying to tell her something. "Marcellus," she says, testing the name Terry told her. The octopus sinks back into the water. Tova closes the lid. She does not install the clamp. At home, the key fits smoothly in her front door after a baking soda scrub. She restores it to her keyring. The spare, which never did turn quite right, goes in the junk drawer. And the loose flap in her screen door, which she had planned to repair, she decides to leave as it is. Some imperfections do not need fixing. The next night, she tells Marcellus about Erik. She tells him about the Wednesday in 1989, after Jazzercise, when she came home and made love to Will in the last of the day's sun. How Will grinned and said soon they'd have the house to themselves. How Erik was supposed to be at his ferry booth shift that night, selling tickets to late travelers, his summer job before starting at the University of Washington that fall. How the police came at dawn. How they said his skiff was found drifting anchor line cut. How they asked whether Erik might have. E wanted to hurt himself. She never believed it. Erik was happy. Erik was in love with someone Will had suspected a girl, though Erik never said a word. Erik had plans. Erik had a future. The official ruling was suicide. Tova had spent 30 years refusing to accept it. Marcellus listens without moving. His eye follows her as she speaks. She does not know if he understands. But when she finishes, he reaches through the water and rests the tip of one arm against the glass where her fingerprints are. The octopus, for his part, understands more than Tova can guess. In his den, a hollow behind the artificial reef, he keeps what he calls his collection. A marble, a plastic superhero, several credit cards that fell from pockets, a silver earring, and, until recently, a key. He found a key on the floor near Tova's cleaning cart. It was unremarkable, a standard house key, slightly worn, but he recognized it immediately, because he had seen its twin before. Long before his capture, when he was young and free and hunting in the cold Pacific, He came across a trove of human objects wedged under rocks on the seafloor. A rubber sneaker sole, a vinyl shoelace, plastic buttons, and a key just like this one. The bones that once wore those clothes were long dissolved, but the objects remained. The key belonged to the one she mourns, her son, the boy who went into the water and never came out. When he realized this, Marcellus decided to return it. She had protected him from the rubbish bin. He would help her carry her grief. It was the least a creature with 500 million neurons could do. The drifter finds a footing. Cameron Casmore is sitting on a curb outside SeaTac Airport, and everything he owns has disappeared into the belly of a plane that apparently flew to Italy. Joyjet has lost his bag. The bag with his clothes, his toiletries, and crucially the jewelry he planned to pawn to fund his search. The class ring is in his pocket. That, at least, he kept. But his aunt's necklace, the bracelet, the earrings, gone. Somewhere over Naples, if the baggage agent is to be believed. He calls her. He confesses everything, the ring, the photo, his plan to track down his father in Washington. She listens. She sighs. Then she transfers $2,000 into his account. Cruise savings. The cruise she had been planning with a friend, deposit due in late August. Pay me back before then, she says. And Cameron? That man is not your father. The man in the photo. I'm telling you now, whatever you think you're going to find. But Cameron has already done the research. The photo online matches Daphne Casmore and a real estate developer named Simon Brinks. Sowell Bay High, class of 1989. The timeline works. If his mother was pregnant in April, Cameron was born the following February. The developer is wealthy now, a man who can afford to pay 3 decades of missed child support. Cameron is going to find him and demand what he is owed. He buys a camper for $1,200 from a friend of a stranger he met at the airport. It rattles, it leaks, it gets him to Sowell Bay. But the developer's office is locked. The aquarium is closed. Cameron has maybe $800 left. He walks into a deli called Shopway and meets a man named Ethan Mack. Ethan is Scottish. He runs the grocery and makes pastrami melts. He gives Cameron a free sandwich and a cup of coffee. And when Cameron says he's looking for the developer, Ethan's eyes widen just slightly. He says he does not know the man, but something in his voice suggests otherwise. Cameron does not push. He has learned that pushing makes people retreat. Instead, he mentions he needs work. Just something temporary. Just until he finds what he's looking for. Ethan makes a call. To the aquarium. An old friend of his, Terry Bailey, the director, is looking for a temporary maintenance worker. The regular cleaner, a woman named Tova Sullivan, is on medical leave. Sprained ankle. Nothing serious, but she needs time. Someone has to mop the floors, empty the trash, greet the animals. The next day, Cameron walks into the aquarium with a resume that Ethan helped him embellish over 2 fingers of whiskey the night before. Terry sees through the lies immediately, but hires him anyway, on Ethan's word. He hands Cameron a keycard. He explains the routine. He mentions almost as an afterthought that the octopus is clever and that Cameron should not mess with the tank lid. Cameron texts a photo of his keycard to his aunt. He has a job. He has a lead. He has a camper that might or might not start in the morning. He has no idea that the octopus in the main gallery has been waiting for him. What the octopus noticed. The new cleaner arrived tonight. He is younger than Tova. He walks with a slight shuffle, the gait of someone who has never quite settled into his own body. He hums badly while he mops. He does not speak to me, not yet, but I have been watching. I am good at reading humans. I have had 1,322 days of practice. I read their fingerprints on my glass. I read the tension in their shoulders, the speed of the stride, the way they hold their mouths when they think no one is looking. I have learned to recognize traits that humans do not even know are visible. The flex in an eye, the shape of an earlobe, the exact angle at which a knee bends while walking. This young man walks like Tova. Not identically, but close. The same hesitation before committing weight to the left foot. The same slight inward turn of the hip. The same rhythm, like a phrase of music half remembered. I have also noticed the dimple in his left cheek when he frowns, which is often. Tova has a dimple in precisely the same place. I am not a sentimental creature. Sentiment is for humans, who have more time than sense. But I have been keeping a countdown for 1,322 days, and I know that my count is running short. The plaque by my tank says so. My skin says so. And there is something I need to do before I die. The young man's name, I have gathered, is Cameron. He is from California. He is looking for someone. He mentioned a name to Ethan in the deli, and I heard it through the water. The name means nothing to me. But I know what I know. I know how bodies move. I know how traits pass from one generation to the next. I know that the cleaning woman who saved my life lost her son 3 decades ago, and that a key matching one from the seafloor where his bones lie was found by me, returned by me, treasured by her. I know that this young man walks like her son walked. I can tell because I have seen her move through this building for nearly 2 years, the particular weight in her step, the particular slowness at the hip. This young man carries his weight in his shoulders instead of his hips, but the pattern underneath is the same. I do not yet have proof. The young man has not spoken to me. He has not touched my tank. He has not shown me his fingerprints, so I can compare them to the mural on my glass. But I am patient. I have a little time left, and I have a hunch that is hardening into certainty. Cameron had no idea, as he mopped the lobby floor and fumbled with a key card and wondered how a man finds a father who does not want to be found, that the octopus in the main gallery was watching him, that the octopus had already filed him away in the same category as Tova Sullivan, that the octopus was beginning, slowly and carefully, to piece together a story that neither of them knew they shared. The floor is clean now. The young man has gone for the night. I settle into my den and rest an arm on my collection, feeling the cool weight of the objects I have gathered over the years. The marble, the earring, the key. No, the key is gone now, back with its owner. But other things remain, things that might yet prove useful. I do hope the young man starts his new job tonight. There is something I need to tell him. Episode 2, The Fourth Guest. The octopus watches. He has been studying the young drifter for weeks. The name tastes strange, but the body that carries it is becoming familiar. The octopus does not sleep the way humans do. His skin reads the water. His arms remember every surface. For nearly 4 years, he has been cataloging gaits, smells, the shapes of fingerprints on his glass. This young man walks like Tova. Not identically. The weight distributes differently. Cameron carries grief in his shoulders, the elderly cleaner in her hips, but the rhythm is there. The hesitation before committing the left foot, the slight inward turn. And then there's the dimple, left cheek. Appears when he frowns, which is often. Tova has a dimple in precisely the same location. The octopus is not sentimental. Sentiment is for humans who have more time than sense. But he has spent 1,329 days in this tank, and his skin tells him the count is running short. His camouflage is failing. His cells are struggling. He has calculated human gestation 280 days, and if Erik conceived a child on or near the night of the accident, that child would have been born in February. Cameron was born in February. The octopus heard him, me. Naoxin once, complaining about gas station hot dogs on his birthday. The bodies align. The dimple, the gait, the eye flex. He can read genetic traits the way a human reads a street sign. But Tova does not see it. Cameron does not see it. They mop together, talk together, and neither notices who walks in front of them. He has returned the key. He has studied the gates. But humans are slow, and he is running out of time. His next journey out of this tank will be his last. The wrong bluff. Cameron has an address. It came through the realtor. He lied about the developer being his father, lied about his mother being dead, and now holds a paper pointing to a Tuscan-style villa in the San Juan Islands. He calls Avery first. She pauses on the line. I can't. I've got Marco this week. But then, before he can retreat, we should do something. Soon. Then he calls Ethan. The Scottish grocery owner has been Cameron's unwitting patron. A place to park the camper, the aquarium job, whiskey in the evenings. The developer has a place in the San Juans, Cameron tells him. He owes me 30 years of child support. Ethan hangs up his apron. Extortion first, fish and chips after. The ferry carries them across the water. Ethan drives with both hands on the wheel, his knuckles tight. Cameron rehearses. My name is Cameron Cassmore. Daphne was my mother. But the villa is not where the magazine said. The address leads to an empty bluff with a view of the water and nothing else. No villa, no brinks. Then the truck gets stuck in a rut. Bloody hell, Ethan mutters. Cameron takes the wheel. He learned this kind of trouble driving stolen copper through Modesto at 17 wedge, a rock, hard left, cut right. The truck wallows, groans, climbs out onto solid ground. Ethan exhales. Where'd you learn that? Nowhere special. They're driving again when Ethan says something that changes the air. Tova's been coming by the aquarium at night. Cameron glances over. She's been showing me the ropes. Ethan's jaw tightens. She's not supposed to be working. She's on medical leave. A pause. Her son drowned 30 years ago. Valedictorian, captain of the sailing team. His skiff was found drifting in the bay with the anchor line cut. They ruled it a suicide. His voice is careful, deliberate. She never believed it. Cameron does not know what to say. The words land in his chest, heavy. He thinks of Tova climbing onto a table with her walking cast, coaxing an octopus back into its tank. He thinks of her saying, "Conscience does make cowards of us all," and how her voice caught her son's favorite line. Her husband? Cameron asks. Pancreatic cancer, a few years ago. They drive. By the time the ferry returns them to Sowell Bay, Cameron's hope is a thin, fraying thing. But he has learned something. The elderly cleaner's grief is a landscape he has only begun to see the edges of. The octopus acknowledges the clock. A father tells a joke at my tank. What did the tiger say when he got his tail caught in the lawnmower? His daughter shrugs. It won't be long now. They move on. I remain holding still. The water is too warm. I have been alive for 1,341 days. My camouflage is on its last legs. My cells are forgetting how to hold oxygen. Sea creatures are masters of deceit. The anglerfish, the seahorse, my own changing skin. But I cannot lie about this. It won't be long now. And yet, I have tried to show them the key, the license. But they do not see. The young man walks with his father's body, and he does not know. The old woman buried her son and never buried her grief, and she does not know. I am running out of time to make them see. I must persevere. A 3-martini truth. The Ellen Chop house has cloth napkins, and a staircase Tova finds unreasonably steep. Laura, Marianne's daughter, helps her up. How is the ankle? Healing. Inside, the nitwits are gathering. Barbara has claimed a water view. Janice arranges silverware. And then the man from the park arrives, the crossword helper, dressed in a jacket that doesn't fit, voice already too loud. A woman follows him, the one Tova later learns is his girlfriend. Mrs. Sullivan, the man says, guided toward her table. I never got a chance to tell you. I knew your son. The table quiets. Erik and I were friends, he says, sitting heavily. We had classes together. I should have said something at the park. He was a good guy. Tova's coffee stops halfway to her lips. She sets it down. The lunch proceeds. The man's girlfriend Sandy, her name is Sandy Hewitt, tries to make conversation, then mentions Tova is selling her house. The nitwits react with dismay. Barbara looks betrayed. Janice says, Tova, you can't just leave. Tova explains calmly, firmly, that Charter Village is paid for, the decision made. It is then that Erik's former classmate, deep in his 3rd martini, says, Erik had a girlfriend, you know. Tova's head turns. Right before he died, he was going to bring her to my family's cabin that weekend, sneaking beers from your fridge to impress her. He laughs, a little sadly. I never met her, but he talked about her all the time. Tova's hands are folded. The sucker mark has long since faded, but she feels the pulse in her wrists. Will had been right. Will had always said there was a girl. There was a girl, Tova says out loud, but no one hears her. The woman beside the man leans in. Are you all right, Mrs. Sullivan? Tova nods. She is all right. She is not all right. She has the knowledge that her son was in love, and the terrible understanding that somewhere there is a woman who lost Erik the same night she did. 3 days later, Tova stands in a grocery store, staring at cherries, when a voice breaks through the woman from the luncheon, the crossword helper's girlfriend. Mrs. Sullivan, right? I'm sorry about Adam at the luncheon. He gets like that after a couple of drinks. He gave me something I've been looking for, Tova says. Proof that Erik was happy. Then, almost as an afterthought, did he ever mention the girl's name? The woman frowns. You know, he did say something. After the luncheon, he was trying to remember. She tilts her head. Daphne, He said her name was Daphne. Tova does not buy the cherries. She drives home with her hands clamped on the wheel and pulls the yearbook from the shelf. Sowell Bay High, class of 1989. Erik's class. Cassmore, Daphne A. Pages 14, 63, and 148. Page 14. Photo day smiles a girl with dark hair and sharp features, looking like she is keeping a secret. Page 63. Yearbook staff. Daphne in the back row with a camera. Page 148. Candid photos. A shot of students on the ferry dock. In the corner of the frame, Daphne, laughing, her hand in the hand of someone just out of the shot. The caption reads, Daphne C. and Mystery Man. Tova closes the yearbook. She has a name. A girl who knew her son, who might have been the last person to see him alive. The paddle and the pier. Avery lives in a small yellow house off the county highway. Marco answers the door, 15, sharp-eyed, direct. You're the guy from the camper. That's me. Avery appears behind him, coffee in hand. Marco, this is Cameron. Cameron, this is the reason I couldn't bring you to my house before I was sure you weren't a creep. I'm still deciding, Marco says, but he's smiling. The paddle shop owner had him at 17. The father, a deckhand named Josh, is a friend, nothing more. She raised Marco mostly alone in the town where people talked, and she learned early not to care what people said. They go paddleboarding. Cameron owns no swim trunks. His ex threw everything off a balcony, so he goes in his jeans. He falls in immediately. Avery laughs. Then they drift, and she tells him about the pier. About a year after I moved here, I was walking Marco in his stroller. I saw a woman standing on the wrong side of the railing. Her voice goes quiet. I asked if she was okay. She didn't answer, so I kept talking. I told her about Marco. I told her I was scared too, when I was 17 and pregnant. I told her she could step back over and I wouldn't touch her. I just listened. Did she? Yeah. She looked at me like she was seeing through me. And then she stepped back, sat down on the pier, and cried. I held Marco, and we sat there until she stopped. Cameron does not know what to say. He has never saved anyone. My mother left, he says instead. When I was 9, dropped me at my aunt's house and never came back. The paddle shop owner turns on her board to face him. The water is glassy. That wasn't your fault. I know. But he doesn't know. He has spent 21 years wondering what he did wrong. My aunt raised me. She's sick. Lives in a trailer with too much stuff and not enough money. I just paid her back $2,000 she gave me for this trip. What are you looking for up here, Cameron? My father. I thought it was this developer Simon Brinks. I have a class ring with his school's mascot and a photo of my mother with him. But it's complicated.